Hello and welcome. Today we will talk about Ford Motor Company and how they respond or have responded to ethical challenges in the past and what their current mission vision statement might be driving them towards in terms of ethical choices and decisions. Ford Motor Company was founded by Henry Ford, who was an inventor and entrepreneur during 1903 in Detroit of Michigan in the United States. As a matter of fact, the Model T became one of the most popular cars because it was inexpensive and cheap since it was produced through the production line or the assembly line. During that time, in the early 1900s, he opened a factory in Canada, making the company a global transportation leader. His moving assembly line for manufacturing was to revolutionize the automotive industry. In July 1919, the family of Ford bought all of the non-family shares, making them the sole owners of the company. Ever since, all Ford company chairmen and CEOs or chief executive officers have been direct descendants of Henry Ford. Ford is actually the fifth largest family-owned business in the world today. Ford remains one of the world's top automobile companies. As a matter of fact, in 1927, Chevrolet surpassed Ford in the number of cars sold, and a rivalry continued for the next 100 years. The Ford Focus was actually world's best-selling automobile in 2013. The Ford Company mission, which is also known as their vision statement, is that people working together as a lean global enterprise to make people's lives better through automobile and mobility leadership. So that mission statement, vision statement sort of helps guide people's decisions in terms of what to do on a day-to-day basis when it comes to ethical choices. Today, Bill Ford is executive chairman. Under his leadership, the company was named the best global green brand among all companies in the world during 2014, in one of the world's most ethical companies for the 8th year in a row during March 2017. In 2017, Mark Fields was forced out as the chief executive officer after a 40% drop in share price over the previous 3 years. Chairman Bill Ford immediately appointed Jim Hackett to replace him. Prior to this appointment, Hackett served as the chairman of the Ford Smart Mobility subsidiary. Hackett's growth strategy is to take the car maker from conventional production to new kinds of vehicles and automobiles and new advanced manufacturing processes that include ride-sharing and autonomous vehicles. His strategy is to move from a traditional car company to a more flexible and technologically advanced mobility company. Hackett's management strategy is to cut costs, focus on trucks and SUVs, and move some manufacturing, including Ford Focus, to China. Ford will cut internal combustion engine spending by 1/3 while moving these resources toward electrical technology with a goal to add 30 new electrical cars by 2020. Ford has pledged to redesign its factories and add 3D printing, robotics, and virtual reality tools to speed up design for development and production of all product offerings. Ford will explore emerging markets as they seek new ways to address urban congestion in park and ride desires of driving public. Hackett plans to push internet connectivity and promises that 100% of new U.S. vehicles will have the capability. As a matter of fact, it will include Wi-Fi technology that is critical for driver assistance systems and autonomous vehicles. Ford's biggest competitors are Tesla, Google, and Uber. Henry Ford once said, "There is a most intimate connection between decency and good business." The company has a strong code of conduct. It is published in the Ford Code of Conduct Handbook. It focuses on ethical risk, provides guidance on how to recognize and deal with ethical issues, and provides policies and methods to report unethical conduct and to help create a culture of accountability and honesty. It also provides an online reporting system as well as questions and answers. The handbook covers the workplace environment, gifts, favors, and conflicts of interest, use of company assets and data, safeguarding integrity of financial records, product quality, safety and environmental matters, intellectual property, working with the government and political activities, competition and antitrust laws, in international business practices that seem to impact, obviously, many of their employees. Ford Code of Conduct Handbook provides a list of items employees are forbidden to accept. Gifts from those who do business or wish to do business with Ford unless under a $50 value, including cash, discounts on products unless offered to the whole company, all employees, and tickets that do not meet entertainment requirements. The company has a strict guideline on international business and maintains strict oversight over its global operations and provides an online global ethics training program for employees written in 13 different languages. Even with a strict code of conduct, Ford has encountered problems throughout the years. During the 1970s through 1980, while the sales of Ford Pinto cars were very high, design issues arose regarding the placement of the gas tank behind the rear axle instead of above it. As a matter of fact, bolts were added, which increased the likelihood of a puncture in the tank and causing a fire. In 1977, the flaws were made public in the Mother Jones article criticizing Ford's decision-making process for the product. The flawed design cost Ford Motor Company about $125 million in compensatory and punitive damages. The verdict remains controversial even after many appeals, as Ford maintained the Pinto was safe and only involved in 1.9% of fatal accidents, and less than half were the result of rear-end collisions. A California Court of Appeals upheld the original verdict, although the amount of punitive damages was reduced to $3.5 million. Nonetheless, Ford was found by the jury to be negligent. Later, Ford engineers indicated that management was actually not made aware of the design problems because of a company culture of firing the bearer of the bad news. Ford's reputation was significantly impacted when the jury viewed Ford as more interested in saving money at the expense of society or people's lives. Another embarrassing Ford ethics issue involved Firestone Bridgestone Tire Company in 1998. A State Farm insurance investigator studied claims and discovered tire thread failure with Firestone tires, which was actually then reported to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Almost 84% of the tire rethread issues were found on Ford vehicles that were manufactured at the Illinois plant. Further investigation revealed that the plant did not have adequate air conditioning, which directly impacted the adhesive properties of the tire. Old equipment combined with temperature control problems led to the safety issues. The Ford Explorer recommended a lower tire pressure, and many felt it contributed to the Ford Explorer rollover problems and the tire thread failure. Firestone issued a tire recall, and Ford implemented a tire replacement program that affected 1.3 million tires. Each company blamed the other for the problems that ultimately severed the long-term relationship between the two companies. Ford was criticized for lack of due diligence and should have had more quality over their cars. Ford also failed to acknowledge to the public that they had identical problems with the Ford Explorer in foreign countries. This resulted in their stock price decline, loss of consumer faith, and ultimately cost the company about 1.3 billion US dollars. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability at Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company has made a commitment to sustainability. As a matter of fact, they created the sustainability workforce that focuses on strategic hiring, training, protection, safety, and healthcare. Ford has a policy for safeguarding human rights in working conditions as they seek to be a good corporate citizen. They also encourage their suppliers to develop and enforce similar policies for their own suppliers and subcontractors. Sustainability creates an opportunity for engagement, collaboration, innovation among every supplier throughout the value chain. Ford has created an employee wellness and well-being program and expanded benefits beyond the traditional ones, including increased paid leave time for their employees. The company is a strong supporter of employee diversity in education. An employee program called Ford Interfaith Network was created to help employees learn about and respect different religious beliefs and customs. Every year, Ford holds a National Day of Prayer at the world headquarters and invites employees of all faiths, ethnicities, and religions to participate. The company also supports having a safe and supportive work environment for gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and transgendered employees. Employees are encouraged to participate in health risk appraisals and health promotion programs. They have a community of sustainability. In terms of community sustainability, Ford employees give 204,000 volunteer hours in 1 year. That was in 2016. The Ford Global Day of Caring volunteers engage in building projects in communities throughout the world. The Ford Partnership for Advanced Studies, otherwise known as Ford PASS, is an academic program that has students, teachers, and community leaders providing free tutoring to participants. In 2016, Ford provided $32.8 million to support community life, $18.4 million to education, and $7.7 million for driving safety programs. The Environmental Sustainability Program for Climate Change addresses ethical business practices, product carbon footprint in fuel economy, customer satisfaction, product quality, in safety, supply chain management, assessment, capacity building and performance, and government regulations. Ford's value chain includes product design that addresses the impacts at every stage of the automobile life cycle, from use of natural resources and materials to product quality and safety. Ford tries to use sustainable material throughout the manufacturing process. They also hold their suppliers and subcontractors to the same standards as they adhere to. In summary, Ford today has operations in more than 100 countries around the world, and they work to maintain the core values of improving performance while addressing social, economic, and environmental challenges, as well as while living in compliance within the Ford Code of Conduct Handbook. Of course, there will always be new ethical issues and challenges that companies like Ford and employees of Ford will face. And Ford will need to continue to assess risks and respond to new challenges in an ethical and obviously moral and legal manner. So some questions to think about for the case of Ford would be as follows. Why do you think Ford has made ethics an important part of their culture? Number two, how has Ford made ethics an important part of its culture? What practices they use, what specific initiatives they use to bring ethics into their culture, to create an ethical climate within the Ford organization's culture. Remember that ethical behavior is a skill. You need to evaluate and improve your ethical muscles in fitness every single day. Good luck.